Hey there, it's Kirsten, and this is my race report for the St. George 70.3 half Ironman distance triathlon that I did on May 7th, 2016. So leading up to the race, I had trained better than I've ever trained for this race. It's my third time doing it. And I was really excited to make my goal of 5 hours and 30 minutes and top 10 in my age group. So that was my goal going into the race. And I felt really confident about that because I was, like I said, I trained really well for this race, probably better than I've trained in a long time for any race. So I was ready. I was feeling great. And the days leading up to the race were pretty warm, but the forecast said that it would be in the 60s on race day. Yay! And partly cloudy. And so we got to St. George on Thursday. The race was Saturday, and it was pretty windy in the afternoons. Rained a little bit, but again, forecast, even race morning said 60s, partly cloudy, and rain maybe after 1 o'clock. A 10 to 20% chance of rain after 1, which I'd be on the run by then, so I don't mind a little rain on the run. So I was good. So we started the race. It was a wave start, which I dislike a lot. Because I started an hour after the race start, which I don't like, but whatever, it is what it is. I have no control over that. So it was a wave start, and the water was actually really warm this year. It was 63 degrees. In the past, it's been in the mid to high 50s. So the swim was actually really warm, and it was a little bit choppy because the wind started to pick up about 20 to 30 minutes after the race started, after the pros went. But it wasn't too bad at all. Actually, the swim was very pleasant. It was probably the warmest part of the day, and it was pretty easy. I ended up with 30-minute flat for the swim, and third out of this water in my age group. So ran through transition, felt great, jumped on my bike, and the minute I started biking, it started raining, and I'm not a fan of the rain. I'm not confident in the rain. I don't ride in the rain. And so I was like, you know what, just do the best you can. The first 10 to 15 miles of the bike course were chip sealed. Maybe 6 months ago, I think they said it was chip sealed. So it was pretty rough. And with the rain, it made it look really slippery. I don't know if chip seal gets slippery in the rain, but it looked slippery and it scared the crap out of me. So I was up in my hoods, not in my aero bars for, that first 10 to 15 miles while it was pouring rain, couple ups, couple downs. It's a pretty hilly race course, not a lot of flat, so it's either up or down. So I wasn't feeling that great. I got hungry really quickly, and I was already getting cold after about 15 miles. But, there's nothing I could do. I wasn't dressed for the rain at all, and the temperature had dropped about 10 to 15 degrees, and the wind was a little breezy. So all in all, it was about 40 degrees, pouring rain, and the wind was keeping me very, very chilly. So I just kept going. I did my same nutrition plan that I did last race, where I drank every 5 miles, and I drank my Vuca, and then when I ran out of that around halfway, or about halfway, mile 25 to 30, I started drinking just the Gatorade from the race course, and that worked really well for me. I actually ended up eating some food, which I normally don't do, but I think the cold made me hungrier than I normally am. So I ate some of my Pro Bar Bolt, I think they're called. They're like soft block type things, kind of chews, and they were good. So about mile 40, we start climbing up Snow Canyon. And that's when I realized my hands were too numb to shift. So I ended up having to get off my bike, move my chain to the little ring. And at the top of Snow Canyon, I could not shift back into my big ring. So I had to get off my bike again and move my chain into the big ring. And basically my hands were frozen the whole rest of the ride. So after you get to the top of Snow Canyon, it's about a 6-mile descent. And this is where I think I lost a lot of time, because there were people just flying down. It was about, I don't know how much rain there was, but there was definitely standing water. And it kind of curves around this pretty steep downhill. And I was just terrified. I was just clenched on both brakes the whole way down. I probably climbed up 6 miles faster than I went down the 6 miles. So I just was so scared. It wasn't, like I said, I'm just not confident in the rain, and that's all there is to it. I didn't feel ever that I was out of, like, my legs felt great, my body felt great. I was just really timid and unconfident and scared on the bike. So I think that is why my bike took 3 hours and 13 minutes. So when I got to transition, I couldn't even take off my helmet. I couldn't untie my bag, my running bag off the bar. I had to have a volunteer do it. But I found out later that the volunteers were having to do that for a lot of people. So it wasn't just me. So I felt better about that. So my second transition was super, super slow. And I got through it. I grabbed a Mylar blanket and I ran the first 5 miles with it wrapped around my body. Just, I wasn't pumping my arms, just wrapped up in my Mylar blanket. And I warmed up. Felt pretty good on the run. Not great, but decent. It's a super hilly run course as well. And about halfway, I ended up walking the uphills, but running the downhills. So all in all, I felt pretty good finishing. I ended up with a 2:01 half marathon run, which isn't bad. It definitely wasn't what I wanted it to be, but I was really happy just to finish and feel good at the finish. So I ended up with 5:51 for my time, so a little bit slower than my goal, and 16th place in my age group, which again, a little off my goal, but I feel good about my effort. I couldn't have gone any faster just because, like I said, I was really scared on the bike. It wasn't that I felt like my nutrition was great, my training was great, my muscles felt good, my body felt good. It was just I didn't go faster on the bike. So that was my experience. I am going to do it for sure again next year, and I have 5 weeks until my next race, which is Boulder 70.3, and I'm going to plan on getting on the bike a lot more outside. I ride mostly on my trainer just so I can work at the same time, but I'm going to make an effort to take the time to bike outside at least 30 minutes every day, even if I have to bike the rest inside, just to get more confident on my bike so that if I have bad weather again, it doesn't affect me as much as it did for this race. So thank you guys. If you have any questions at all about the race course, like I said, it was my 3rd time doing it. I'd be happy to share if you have specific questions about the race or the course. If you're going to do it next year, then I will see you there. And until then, have an awesome summer training, and I'll see you next time. All right, bye.